Hello students, welcome to this class. We'll be looking at the topic forest management. Now imagine a world without forest. Think about what the world is suffering now: global warming, ozone layer depletion, and lots more due to global deforestation. A lot of resources can be gotten from the forests. Forests can really be a good source of revenue as well as foreign exchange to the nation if properly managed. So in this lesson, we will discuss more about the topic forest management. By the end of the lesson, we should be able to define a forest, highlight the importance of forests, state forest regulations, explain forest management practices, and finally state the implications of deforestation. So let's start with the meaning of forest. Now, forest is defined as a large area of land covered with trees and bushes, either growing wild or planted by man for some purposes. It involves the various animals also in the forest. Still on some definition of terms, we have what is called forestry. Now, forestry is the art of planting, tending, and managing forests, including the utilization of their products. Another term we need to know is silviculture. Now, this is the study of forest trees and other related trees. Let's take a look at the importance of forest. One, forest woods. And forest woods provide planks for making of furniture. Forest provides fuel in form of firewood. Timber from forest can be a source of foreign exchange when it's exported to other nations. The wild animals in the forest can act as a good source of food for man. The forest provides medicinal herbs which could help the healing of people, providing some health care. Now, forest also provides employment for people, for example, the sawmillers, the silviculturists, and forest guards, to mention a few. We also have the lumberjack. Now, forest can also serve as windbreak, reducing the speed of wind, which will help to control wind erosion. Forests, because of its cool environment, also help in the condensation of water vapor, which results in the formation of rain. Still on the importance of forests, due to the vegetative cover of forests, soil erosion is also prevented. Now, forest also helps to improve the fertility of soil through the decay of fallen leaves. Now, some of these trees are deciduous trees which actually shed their leaves at certain seasons of the year, and these leaves will end up getting decayed or decomposing, which will now help to improve the fertility of the soil. Forest also serves as the home of some wild animals like the tiger, the lion, the antelope, snakes, to mention a few. The forest, because of its beautiful scenery, also serves as a tourist center. People do love to go visit some forests just to have a view of the beautiful scenery. Forest also helps in the purification of air. How is this achieved? By removing carbon dioxide and adding oxygen to the atmosphere through the process of photosynthesis. We know that plants manufacture their food through photosynthesis, and once they do that, they remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, which is involved in the process of photosynthesis, and they also release oxygen. So this helps to purify the air. Forest provides raw materials such as gum, resins, dye, fiber, rubber, which can be used for both domestic and industrial purposes. Let's take a look at forest regulations. Now, these are measures put in place by the government to prevent indiscriminate felling of trees or indiscriminate felling of trees or burning of bushes. These are regulations that the government has put in place, and it's very important to ensure forests are not depleted. So let's look at some of the forest regulations. We have prohibition of bush burning. Now, this will also help to preserve the forest. Then prohibition of cutting down indiscriminately without replacement. So when trees are felled or cut down indiscriminately without replacement, this actually leads to deforestation. So this is another forest regulation. Harvesting of underage trees should be prohibited or is prohibited. Now, this will also ensure that the forest is preserved. We're looking at forest regulations. Then people should be encouraged to plant trees. Now, this ensures that more forests are formed. There's this government program called the tree planting program that encourages people to plant trees, and this is also forest regulation. Now, let's take a look at forest management practices. Certain techniques that are observed and put in place to encourage the management of our forest. We have what is called selective exploration. Some say selective exploitation. Now, this is the cutting or harvesting of only mature trees in a forest. We have regeneration. Now, this is the process of forest regrowth after it has been exploited. Now, exploited means once the trees have been felled, we need to encourage the regrowth of such trees. So that process is called regeneration. We have afforestation. Now, this is the process of establishing forest plantation in any area. So afforestation is when, especially when there was no forest in that environment and you now plant trees in that environment, that process is called afforestation. So it's different from regeneration. Okay. Tongue system is another forest management practice. Now, this involves planting of food crops and some forest trees at the same time until the canopies of the trees close up. That means these food crops will now be harvested before the trees form canopies. Canopies are those leafy areas, the broad leafy areas at the top of the trees. Now, this could prevent sunlight from getting down to the food crops that are grown in such units. So, Tonga system involves planting of food crops together with forest trees at the same time until the trees form canopies, or harvesting the food crops before the trees form canopies. Let's look at the implications of deforestation. Now, deforestation encourages soil erosion because once deforestation takes place, that's loss of vegetative cover on soil. It exposes the soil to the impact of raindrops, which could lead to erosion. It reduces the humus content of the soil. Remember, these forest trees, when they shed their leaves, these leaves decompose, and eventually becomes humus. And once there's no forest, the humus content will be reduced. It leads to the destruction of soil structure. Now, the roots of this vegetative forest also helps to hold the soil structure, binds them together. So once a soil or land is free of forest, the soil structure will be affected or destroyed. It also results in loss of soil nutrients as well. Remember, the soil is exposed to erosion, which also leads to loss of nutrients. The leaves are not shed, which could lead to decomposition and helping to replenish nutrients in the soil. So as a result of deforestation, there will be loss of soil nutrients. It also hinders the activities of soil microorganisms as well. Deforestation hinders the activities. Some microorganisms are found in the soil, and once they don't have what to act upon and help in the decomposition process, that will eventually lead to hindering the activities in the soil. It reduces wildlife population because the forest is also the home of wildlife, of animals, and once there's no forest, it will definitely affect their population. It can also lead to desertification. When there's no vegetative cover, then the desert encroachment will gradually set in, and then that's another implication of deforestation. It also reduces wildlife population in areas concerned. It also destroys the microclimate and warms up the environment. Remember, rainforest has an effect in encouraging rainfall because it helps to in formation of rain, and once there's no forest, rainfall is affected, which is condensation. will be affected. Remember, some of these our forests also carry out transpiration where moisture is released into the atmosphere, and after some time, due to condensation, it comes down. When there's the moisture in the atmosphere is saturated, it now comes down as rain. And so these are the ways the microclimate is affected as a result of deforestation. Okay, so let's just have a recap on what we've learned. We looked at the meaning of forest, which is a large area of land covered with trees and bushes, including wild animals. We also looked at the importance of forest, which include the provision of wood for furniture, provision of fuel from firewood, source of foreign exchange, source of food and medicinal herbs, to mention a few. We also mentioned some forest regulations, which include the prohibition of bush burning, prohibition of indiscriminate cutting down of trees, and harvesting of underage trees is also prohibited. We also discussed some forest management practices, which include selective exploration. We looked at regeneration, we looked at deforestation, that's planting of trees. We looked at Tonga system, which involves the growing of food crops together with forest trees. And finally, we mentioned the implications of deforestation, which include it reducing the humus content of the soil, which includes destruction of the soil structure. It also results in loss of soil nutrients, and it also hinders the activities of some microorganisms, soil-borne organisms. So thank you for your time. Let's take a look at some questions. Okay, this question says, which of the following product is not a primary forest product? Now we have A as timber. Timber is a forest product. Primary means actually what is gotten directly from the forest, not processed. So timber is gotten directly from the forest. Fuel wood is also gotten from the forest. Mushroom is also gotten from the forest. And we have pulp as the fourth option, which is not a primary product. Pulp is a processed product gotten from softwood, from trees, and it's from there we now get paper. So pulp is a processed product, so it's not a primary forest product. Now this question says the basic importance of agriculture to a forester is A, acquire labor, B, obtain honey, C, procure timber, and D, obtain food. From this, we know that the basic product gotten from the forest is timber. So I believe the basic importance of agriculture to a forester, why a forester will get involved in forest production, into forestry. The forester is one who is involved in the forest, is to procure timber. So that's the answer. So thank you for your time. I encourage you to sort through the Examguide and go through more questions to test your knowledge base. Thank you.